Welcome to your training on CSI, Credit Union Service Investigators. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to a guest speaker, Gil Grissom from CSI.
Well, right on time. Welcome to your first night on the job. I'm Gil Grissom, your new supervisor. Of all that for this position, you were the most promising. Your excellent grades, data analysis, and computer skills put you over the top. Now you have to prove yourself in the field. Remember, listen to the evidence, listen to the suspects.
Gil Grissom points out two very important things when building a case. First, we need to listen to the evidence. Second, listen to the suspects. As we build a case for what great member service is, let's first gather the evidence and listen to what it's telling us. Then we'll move on to some suspects. So let's get started on gathering evidence for great member service. As you can see in the bottom left corner of this slide is fingerprint powder. Now, what makes fingerprints such great evidence? Well, you might be thinking to yourself, they're unique. Member service, just like fingerprints, is very unique. And so to be able to gather evidence on what great member service is, let's look at some of the unique attributes of great member service. The first unique attribute of great member service is acknowledge the members as they approach. Now, why is this important? Well, as a member approaches your workstation, by acknowledging them, it communicates to them that they're important, that they matter. And even if you're busy, that acknowledgement communicates that you're aware of them and that you'll be able to serve them as soon as possible. The second most important thing is smiling. Now, what does the smile communicate? Well, it communicates you're happy, that you're glad to see the person, that you're enjoying yourself and enjoying your job. People like to be around happy people. So we need to make sure we smile when our members approach and when we're doing transactions for our members. The next evidence of great member service is using the member's name. By using the member's name, you're communicating to them that you know them and that you are familiar with them and their situations. This is so important to provide great member service. So now that we've listened to the evidence and we've gathered evidence of great member service, we now need to move on to listening to the suspects. So here we have an example of a suspect of great member service. This is Tony, and Tony displays great member service. You can tell immediately by the eye contact that he's making. First thing we learn for our suspect is maintain eye contact. The eyes communicate so much. In fact, let's do an example. So what do these eyes communicate to you? So what do you think? Well, for me, she's communicating happiness. All right, now this one. What do you think? Well, to me, it looks like she might be a little upset. Here's another one. What is his eyes communicating to you? Well, for me, those eyes are communicating happiness. Here's another one. What are these eyes communicating to you? Well, I think she looks kind of sad. Well, here's my favorite one. What are these eyes communicating? Well, kind of surprise, excitement. So, as you can see from this little activity, your eyes can communicate so much. So maintaining eye contact is an important part of great member service. This is even better illustrated by looking at the opposite of maintaining eye contact. Something like shifty eyes. Well, what do those communicate to you? Maybe deceptiveness or lack of confidence. And as we help our members with our money, they don't want to feel like we're being deceptive or that we're not confident in knowing what we're doing. As we continue to listen to the suspect, Tony here does a great job. In fact, as we end our conversation with him, he actually takes the time to review what we discussed. This is the next step of great member service. We need to review the transaction with our members. This has a secondary purpose too. When we review the transaction with the member, we make sure that we did the transactions as they wish. There's nothing worse as far as great member service than doing the transaction wrong. So by reviewing it, we'll hopefully catch those mistakes and we'll be able to continue to provide great member service. Now that we have listened to the evidence and listened to the suspect, we now need to build our case of what great member service is. So the first part of building the case is to avoid distractions. In your job, you'll have a lot of distractions, phone calls, questions from other associates. However, when we work with our members, we need to make them feel like they're our number one priority, that no other distractions come in front of them. The next step in building a case, as well as great member service, is accuracy. We need to handle the transaction accurately. If we fail to handle the member's transaction accurately, then we fail to provide great member service. It doesn't matter if we smile, username. If we do the transaction wrong, they won't perceive it as great member service. Now that we've built our case for great member service, we need to pick the final factors that distinguish great member service. Now, in a case, the place you do that is a police lineup. In this lineup, which one of these represents great member service? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, they all look the same. When it comes to financial institutions, this is probably how our members see the difference between credit unions and bank. Well, we both offer auto loans, we both offer checking accounts, and they don't necessarily see the distinction. So it's up to us to help them see us as being different. And we do that through great member service. So let's talk about those things that make us stand out in our members' mind. The first one is providing information. Information is providing our members with the information about products and services that can benefit them. Oftentimes they don't know about these products or services, and our responsibility is to tell members about products and services that can help them. Also, as we finish the transaction, we should thank them for doing business with us and offer a salutation such as "Have a great day." Our members do have a choice when they select a financial institution. So let's every day build a case of great member service.